Fact.
Speaking of martyrs and people who have been really unfairly put upon, let me ask you about Meghan Markle.
Is y'all right upstairs?
One of the great martyrs of our time.
Poor thing. Her castle was so small.
What do you mean by that?
She is apparently getting back into the podcast lane thanks to this far left pro-women Lemonada company. Richard Eden over in the Daily Mail, your old hot, has a piece today saying they're struggling to get this thing out of the starting blocks. No podcasts are even expected anytime this year and not until 2025.
Okay.
And the podcast, by the way, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, or at least something she's doing. Her Netflix show, I guess, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship, Piers. She's going to be teaching us how to be a good friend.
Nice.
I can't wait to find out from Meghan Markle what that's like.
Well, as one of the many friends that she cut off spectacularly the moment she got a bit of royal action, along with her entire family, of course, on both sides, apart from her mother.
Yeah, right.
I don't think Meghan Markle's in any position to be lecturing anybody about friendship. It always made me laugh that the Archewell website, their charitable foundation, says it's dedicated to compassion. I mean, it's hard to imagine two people who've been less compassionate in the last few years to the ones around their loved ones than these two, right? This is two people who trashed all their family. And? Whether it was her father or whether it was Harry's entire family at a time when Prince Philip and the Queen were both dying. There they were on national television, from Oprah Winfrey to Netflix to whatever, as the Spotify guy put it, whatever grift they could get paid for, up they were trashing their families.
Are you sure about that?
So the idea now that they're reduced, or that certainly Meghan Markle is now reduced from somebody who, remember Meghan, she had a fairy tale royal wedding that was seen around the world. The carriages drawn down to Windsor Castle and so on. It was an amazing event. Everyone in this country, I'm in the UK at the moment, everyone loved that marriage when it happened. There was universal support for it, euphoria. It was only their behavior in the first year of their marriage when they began to behave rankly hypocritically, lecturing about poverty whilst having $500,000 baby showers, to lecturing us about the need to watch our carbon footprint and using Elton John and George Clooney's private jets like taxi cabs.
You got me.
And it was the constant hypocrisy that they got picked up on by the media, and then they couldn't handle the criticism from the media, and then it all turned hostile. Then they started suing everybody, and the whole thing got so toxic. Eventually, they just say, we've had enough of this. We're not going to do any more dreary duties on a wet Wednesday, which is what you have to do to earn your royal titles in the estimation of the public. And they decamped off to Montecito, bought themselves a massive mansion. And they were supposed to be doing it, Meghan, if you remember, this was going to be their liberation, their freedom, and it was supposed to make them happy. I've never seen two more miserable people who never stop whining and suing absolutely everybody.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yes.
In the pretense that this is because they found their liberation and freedom. If you're so damn happy and free and liberated, well, shut up, stop whining and complaining about everything. But they're obviously not happy. And it's obviously been diminishing returns where when you trash your family again and again and again, eventually there's not much left to say.
Fact.
And people don't really want to hear it. It's like the Spotify guy said, they're just a pair of grifters who just want to trash their family for loads of money and not put a shift in to do proper work. You and I know how hard it is to do this kind of thing properly. It's a lot of work with a dedicated team, and you put the hours in, and you've got to be creative and high energy and really put graft in.
Okay.
These two wanted to do massive deals with companies and then not do any work. Nobody wants to see her next podcast. Nobody listened to the first one. And that's for this thing she's now doing with the ridiculously long name that no one can remember. Where she's going to try and
Riviera,
the
American, whatever. I have to write it down. American Riviera Orchard. See footnote 47 for the remainder of the name.
Right, and she's now got all her celebrity, sort of B-list, C-list mates putting out Instagram posts about her jam, and it's like, how the mighty fall. This was a woman who had it all in this country. who literally had it all and is now flogging jam from her kitchen in Montecito.
What?
While her husband runs around fuming about absolutely everything and everyone, because he knows, in his gut, he knows what he's lost. And eventually, those chickens will come home to roost.
Fact.
And then she will be touting their eggs on her stupid website where she's wearing evening gowns while walking around her mansion that we're supposed to feel sorry for her because she's in. I love it. But on the grifter subject, one of the funniest things that was Bill Simmons, who said that at Spotify, I've never seen such a pair of grifters. They wouldn't do any work.
Why?
She got paid all this money. She barely did anything. Him too.
Yeah.
And now she signs this pod deal with this Lemonada. We're not getting a podcast for years. And then she decides to sign this deal with Netflix. She's done nothing other than now this show she's going to do on cooking and friendship. Finally, okay, we'll believe it when we see it. And then finally, she's got her little Riviera thing going, where so far we've had one jar of strawberry jam. She's so lazy.
It's the whole thing. It's sort of lazy and a bit pathetic, you know.
God, please, no! No!
This is somebody who demands that we use the title Duchess of Sussex. I come from Sussex, which is a county in the south of England. I've spent more time in Sussex in the last month than Meghan Markle has spent in her entire life. She has actual
She's
right.
your ruler, Piers. I didn't know that. She's your...
She ain't my ruler, Meghan Kelly. She is somebody who, listen, as I've said to you, I think many times before, if they actually want to do this kind of thing and trade themselves around as sort of, you know, celebrities and do that sort of circus, then they can do it, but they can't do it with the royal title.
Fact.
They shouldn't be using the royal titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, bestowed on them by the monarchy, an institution they constantly complain about and trash whenever they get the chance. Fine, if you want to go off and be celebrities in California, do it. But don't trade on the titles.
That was easy.
Every time I see her demanding to be called Duchess of Sussex, I laugh. Nobody in Britain calls her that. Meghan Markle. You know, she got lucky, met her prince, dragged him out of the bosom of his family, dragged him away from the monarchy, which bestowed those titles on them, and has now ruthlessly, with him, exploited those titles for massive personal gain.
What do you mean by that?
And I think it's disgusting and hypocritical. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. I hope that King Charles, who obviously is massively distracted by his illness, but I hope that King Charles at some stage just has that conversation and says, you can't keep the titles, I'm sorry.
Come on now, dog.
But you can't keep demeaning the status of being a member of the royal family and attacking the family and the monarchy and retain your titles. You can just be Harry and Meghan. And see how you get on, by the way, when you're no longer royals. Because the answer is not very far.
That's right. Who wants your jam then? Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers?
What is he doing?
Well, now you can grow lemon, avocado, olive, or fig trees. They have houseplants too. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online and ship directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. You can even speak to their specialists for a free consultation. You can find the perfect fit for your specific climate, location, and needs. Whether you're looking to add some privacy, shade, or natural beauty to your yard, Fast Growing Trees is ready to help you make the right selection from their nursery. Right now, they have some of the best deals online, like up to half off on select plants and more. Viewers get an additional 15% off when using the code Meghan at checkout.
So that was a lie.
It's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the code MEGYN at checkout. Go to fastgrowingtrees.com, code Meghan. This offer won't last forever. Tell them I sent you. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.
William will do as well. Because otherwise, you know, what's the point of the royal family? Well, you know, they are there to
Richard, you're not supposed to ask that question.
they're there to encourage good causes and that type of thing. And so,
he's serious old, man.
you know, to have that patron makes a lot of difference to them, and there'll be a lot of relief all round.
Do you think, Charlotte, that we can expect more change in the way these patronages are dealt with, as Richard alludes to, when William
Very good question.
takes the throne?
I think so. I think he's going to cut them right back, to be honest, because what William wants to do is care a lot about a few causes rather than spreading himself too thin. He dreads going around the country and cutting ribbons for the rest of his life because he wants to connect with people. He doesn't want to just be symbolic at an event for 5 minutes. Dare I say, a little bit like Princess Anne, who we love, but gosh, she gets through a lot of events, doesn't she? Every day, it's sometimes 10, 15.
And while that's a noble principle of William's, surely a lot of these charities and other organisations are quite happy with their 5 minutes of ribbon cutting if it gives that such a boost.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what you said as well, and it's so important to them. But I think for William, he just finds that too daunting. He's got a huge family of his own. He's got 3 kids. He really cares about causes. And what if he ends up neglecting some of his causes, such as homelessness?
What the hell?
And the environment. They take up a huge amount of his time. Currently, the Duchy of Cornwall takes up a lot of his time. So I think it's a noble aim. I know what you mean, though, because everyone wants to say they've got, a royal's been through their doors. But it can't continue. It's quite an unsustainable way to live one's life, actually, if you're a royal.
Well, hopefully it will change, when Prince William becomes king, that it was the same with Charles, that when he was Prince of Wales, he could get involved in...
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Big causes, whether it's environment or organic food or architecture. But being king is different. That's when you do need to be patronal more. So I think hopefully it's just a reflection of the fact that William is Prince of Wales, and he'll see that his role needs to change as well.
Watch this space. Well, we have so much more to come, including all the details of Harry's revealing trip to London. But before then, let's have a couple of your comments. And we'll start with the most important royal topic from last week. That's right, how Richard and Rebecca coordinated their outfits. Everybody noticed, like this from Michelle Smith, who said, "I love that Richard's tie matches Rebecca's dress." They had a chat beforehand, didn't you? Perhaps they could coordinate more often. Thoughts on that?
Well, we didn't organise it beforehand. It was just a coincidence.
Left me out.
But maybe we should in the future. Good idea.
All right, we'll have a discussion. There'll be a meeting. Well, sticking with outfits, another Michelle Long, had this to say after we
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
mentioned the late Queen's Second World War overalls. I rewound to take another look at Queen Elizabeth in her ambulance uniform, and you're all wrong. She actually made that dull thing look elegant and fashionable. I quite agree, actually. While Grand Duchess Anaya had this to say about the Duchess of Sussex's no-show in London. How ironic that Meghan has a death grip on her British title but doesn't wish to step a foot back into the UK ever again. Ouch. Well, many of you took issue with comments from Rebecca
Stop it. Get some help.
about Prince Harry founding the Invictus Games. Some polite, some a little bit less so, I have to say, like Gail Marshall, who wrote, "Rebecca, why does everyone keep insinuating that Harry did this Invictus thing all by himself?" Well, Rebecca isn't here today because she is spending the day with the Prince of Wales in Cornwall, and she was at a royal garden party at Buckingham Palace yesterday. She does have quite the life, doesn't she? Well, we're all just sitting here in this fake palace. She did, however, send us this message to answer all of those who questioned last week's Invictus discussion.
Now, I think it's important to point out that when you report on the royal family, you should do it without fear or favour.
Fact.
If there's something to praise, you should praise it. And equally, if there's something particularly egregious, you should not be afraid to point that out either. Now, when it comes to Invictus, I think it's important to stress that back in 2013...
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
I was with Prince Harry in Colorado in the United States when he was introduced to the Warriors game, a brilliant, very similar concept out there. And he spoke to a group of journalists afterwards, including myself, and said he was determined